Welcome to Coffee and Connections. I'm the library director, Cindy Scott, and today I have with me Barbara Widmer, the children's librarian here at the library, and we're going to talk about books for boys. So Barbara, what are some of the books that you could recommend for really young boys?
Well, I've had a lot of mothers come in asking for books for boys because sometimes they're kind of reluctant readers. And so for young children, like preschoolers, Pete the Cat is one of my favorites. I love Pete because he's always upbeat. He always says it's all good. And if you go online with some of the books, especially the earlier ones, they have a little tune that goes with the books. And they like that rhyming. They like the beat to it. It's a very clever thing that they do. And Pete has a lot of adventures with his friends, and he's good to his friends. And that's kind of a nice thing to instill in children. I like that one. Mm-hmm. Boys, of course, love dinosaurs, and they like trucks. So here we have it both rolled in together with Dinosaur Rescue. This is a series of 4 or 5 books, too. There's one about dinosaurs with construction equipment, and it's colorful. The pictures are wonderful, big and bright. This is by Penny Dale, and you also learn the names of dinosaurs, and poor moms and dads will have to try to figure out how to pronounce them because some of them are tough.
And probably read it over and over.
Over and over, yeah. Mo Willems, he has hit big with this very big series called Elephant and Piggy Books, and I Will Surprise My Friend, this one is, and they're about friendship for the most part. And instead of text, they have like cartoon balloons, so there's just very little wordage in it, but you can see the progression from the beginning of the story to the end, and there's always a very clever conclusion with these. And these would also be good for emerging readers, children new to reading. There's just a few words in them, but that's a good one. Also by Mo Willems is a really great one. I love this one myself. Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. This is an interactive book. This is a series as well. There are a few of these, and no matter what you do, you tell the children, no matter what you do, the pigeon actually talks to the children, and he wants to drive the bus, but the driver tells the children, no matter what the pigeon does or says, he cannot drive the bus. So they really like saying no every time, the pigeon tries to make a deal.
Repeat the
to
phrase.
try to drive the bus. So I think that's pretty clever.
Well, this is one of my favorites coming up here.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a rhyming book, Sheep in a Jeep. And there's several of these as well. This is a little bit of a series. And sheep in a Jeep get in a lot of trouble, but it also has a problem-solving aspect to it. So they get in trouble, the Jeep is stuck, and just what they do to get that Jeep unstuck. So that's a very clever series. Trucks again for the boys. I Stink. What boys would not want to read this? A stinky garbage truck, So this is one in the series. There are several. The other one is about a fire truck, and that's called I'm Brave, I believe. And another construction type one that says I Am Mighty. So those are great books for young boys. They love that. And another trash book here, garbage book, Smash, Mash, Crash. There Goes the Trash by Barbara Odenaka. So you've got your rhyming, you've got the truck books, and you've got Crash, Bang, Boom, all the things that boys tend to like. Yeah, exactly.
Now we get into some older kids.
We have some older ones. These are for young kids. I'd say 5 to 9. I say 5. Probably with help reading, or maybe just being read too. These two would be good for emerging readers. They are chapter books, very small chapter books. This one is The Capital Mysteries by Ron Roy. He also writes the A to Z Mysteries. They're both great emerging chapter books for young ones. This Who Cloned the President is sort of a mystery, so you help solve the mystery. And you learn about the Capitol and the things that children would see in the Capitol, the White House or Washington Monument. So you get a little bit of history in there as well. And like I said, A to Z Mysteries.
These are always popular.
They are very popular.
Big series goes out a lot.
Yeah, very popular. enough pictures to keep them interested, not too challenging. So that's a great series. Encyclopedia Brown, he's been around for a long
Long time.
Yes, just tried and true, and I like it because he gives clues to the mystery, so it helps the children think, do some problem solving while they read. So that's a great one. This is an old series, My Father's Dragon. There are 3 in this, and you have a little bit of nonsense in it, actually. It's a nonsense book. And a small boy's trip to rescue an overworked dragon is what this is all about, from a jungle island bristling with wild beasts. So that is sort of an adventure book. And again, you have plenty of pictures and not a whole lot of words. We don't want to overwhelm them. How to Train Your Dragon. This also has a movie connection. This is a series of several of them. And again, the pictures, cartoonish type pictures, a little more on the fantasy side, which is very popular. Another oldie but goodie is Ralph S. Mouse. The one I really wanted to show you was Mouse on a Motorcycle, but it's out, but that's good. We're glad it's out. These are humorous stories, and these are, I believe this is a series of 3 or 4 in the Mouse on a Motorcycle series. Humor is also good for children, especially boys love that. Roald Dahl, BFG, The Big Friendly Giant, that's a great one, along with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Matilda. These again are humorous. A lot of times, especially with Matilda, it shows children being smarter than parents, and what little boy wouldn't think that was pretty cool. So that's kind of a fun series too, Roald Dahl. On the middle age, I have, maybe 8 to 12. I have several here. The one, speaking of humor, this one I've tried on several reluctant readers, and it's been a success. This is Chet Gecko. He's a 4th grade student in an elementary school, but he is a gecko. But he solves mysteries that happen in school, like who trashed the principal's office, or things like that. And this is all plays on words. As you can see, this title is The Hamster of the Baskervilles. So they're all puns and plays on words and just very cleverly done. And like I say, I have great success with young boys getting hooked on these. And there are several in that series. Many, many. Frindle and Andrew Clements. I love Frindle. Frindle, this is a young boy, decides to invent a new word. So instead of calling a pen, he calls it a frindle. And he's trying to get the whole school to do that. And you can see how he might go about doing that. Many books in this series by Andrew Clements. He's a great writer for young boys. Ranger in Time is a new series by Kate Messner, and it involves time travel and a golden retriever. And he rescues people in certain periods of history. This one happens to be Escape from the Great Earthquake. So obviously it takes place in San Francisco. And again, there are several of those, and they take place in different periods of time. Tried and True, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Chronicles of Narnia, C.S. Lewis. Classic.
Everybody loves that book.
Classic, yeah. And so we have, of course, all components of that.
Series.
Yes, all there, ready for you. This is a fairly new, Mysterious Benedict Society. This is, again, about children taking things in their own hands and getting things done and solving mysteries. This is a little heftier. This is, for a reader who's ready to go here, because that's quite hefty. And again, another series. Series and kids are just really popular now. I think Harry Potter did that for us.
Yes.
It got the series more
and
popular.
And more serious, thicker.
Yes, absolutely. Brian Jake's Redwall. This is an older series, and there are several, like 20 plus of these. But it involves animals as protagonists, and that's been a popular theme with children's books too. That and Aaron Hunter's books, The Warriors, that has been popular. And this series is pretty much a classic at this point as well. The last group I have is for teens, maybe tweens as well. Adventure books are great. These are two tried and true, I'd say, adventure books. My Side of the Mountain by Craighead George and Gary Paulson's Hatchet.
Everybody I've ever given Hatchet
yes.
to has really enjoyed it. Gary
That's-
Paulson's a great writer.
Often on reading lists for schools. It's both are about surviving alone in the wilderness, and I think they're great for that age group. Fablehaven, something a little more on the fantasy side, involves mystical creatures. This is by Brandon Mull. This too is a series, and Brandon Mull has other series too that are great for that age group. Boy or girl, doesn't matter. Kenneth Opel, Airborne. This is a trilogy, this particular one. This is an adventure about a cabin boy on an airship. And it's sort of a combination of Jules Verne and Robert Louis Stevenson, with the swashbuckling adventure, and yet it has a little fantasy involved in it.
I loved it, and I'm one of the people who loves to read young adult and children's fantasy and science fiction.
Yeah.
And a lot of adults do like to read
Oh,
those,
yes.
and this was a really great sample.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Kenneth Opel. And, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't have the Lord of the Rings trilogy by Tolkien. And we just have this brand new set because ours wear out all the time, which is a good thing. So here's a beautiful set, the first, of the Lord of the Rings and the Fellowship of the Ring, and that is, I'd say, pretty standard for children this age to be reading. And of course I thought they did a fabulous job on the movie too.
And Barbara's also available to offer advice about other
Yes.
types of reading for different kinds of readers, as are the rest of the library staff. We do a lot of reader's advisory, or what we call nowadays curating the collection. We have databases and our own knowledge and experience, so feel free to ask for assistance if you're trying to find something that you might enjoy reading or that your children might enjoy reading.
Yeah.